how important is it to basically clear that credit? Give some tips on, being responsible, but also like taking, like you said earlier, accountability and saying, you know what, I racked up this debt. I need to take care of this.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways to address that too. But going back to what you just said too is, you know, I'm not a fan of a debit card only because when you swipe a debit card, you're putting your money at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if that swipe machine gets hacked, they got your bank account, right? That's number one. Number two is there's no there's no reward that you get for using your debit card,
Right.
right? So most people just swipe, swipe, swipe. Now with a credit card, I get reward points. I get 3% cash back, or I get 20 points. I get 1,000 air miles, right? So there's reward points. And then if you swipe it and that company gets hacked or whatever, and your credit card gets hacked, it's the bank's money that's at risk, not yours.
Right. Welcome to the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder. The vision of this podcast is to provide tools on how to become successful in your finances, business, leadership development, and much more. A little bit about me: I grew up in the hood, homeless at the age of 14. I made a choice not to become a product of my environment. And today, I am a successful businessman, community leader, and inspirational speaker. It is my desire to encourage and empower you to unlock your greatness. So tune in and enjoy the show. What's going on, everybody? You're listening to another episode of the Desire to Dream podcast. I'm your host, Lo Wilder, and today I have a special guest, my man, my brother, Austin, down in Florida. Austin, what's going on, bro?
Miss you in Florida, man. Everything's good, man. Everything's good. I appreciate you letting me jump on here, brother. I
Hey,
really do.
absolutely, man. We want to celebrate it, man. So without further ado, man, let's just dive right into it. Tell the audience, tell the listeners, who you are, man, where you're from, kind of your background, your backstory, and then we'll build it up to the things that you're just crushing right now.
Dude, yeah, man, I appreciate it. And kudos to you, man. I know you're killing it. You got the baby, and you just promotion after promotion. Every time I see you, man, you got another award that you're winning. I hate it.
Winning, baby, winning.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. It's awesome.
Appreciate that.
And raised in Florida, man. To the core, Vero Beach, Florida, small town. Average age is probably 60 years old here. And being that there's not much to do, got in a lot of trouble. As a youngin', and have great parents, been married for 30 plus years, but as you know, Lo, everybody has their own decisions and chooses their own friends. And, as I was up in high school, I decided to choose wrong. So got caught up in the drug scene, alcohol, just parties and things like that. And got arrested when I was 20 years old. I went to prison at 21, got out, did probation, all that, everything that you read about, on the E True Hollywood Story type of deal.
Right.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, man. My faith grew stronger. I've never been more at peace because of things like that that's happened. And it was scary, from the outside looking in, but it was the greatest thing that ever happened, man. And I don't regret it. I hope some people go through things in their life that helps them redirect where they're headed. So
right.
Not to that extreme, but and so now been married for coming up on 3 years. I got an 11-year-old stepdaughter and a 16-month-old daughter. So 2 girls in the house. I'm outnumbered.
Hey, you outnumbered, man.
But it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing. And, credit, I'm involved in credit right now. We're definitely going to dive into that.
Yep.
Man, it's just, it doesn't matter where you were raised or where you were born. A lot of times the schooling system is not designed to teach you the things that we're going to share on this podcast, or the things that, honestly, Lo, you've been preaching to the world. It's not taught in school. So where do you hear it? People like yourself, man. So I'm honored to be on here, bro.
Man, listen, I want to dive into your story because obviously our backgrounds are similar in this to a certain extent. Like, I never got caught, never got arrested or anything like that. But I grew up in the hood, man. I grew up in the ghetto, man. There was a lot of influence. There was a lot of drugs. There was a lot of partying, a lot of gang activity. A lot of friends of mine's are not here today, because they got caught up in that. And you said it was the best thing that ever happened to you. So I kind of want to dig a little deeper into that because, see, I believe, and you can agree with me, I'm sure, that a lot of people get caught up in certain situations and think like, man, my life is a mess. This is the worst thing ever. But really, man, it's our pit that we're going to develop and grow. And I think of Joseph, man, when he was in this pit and he was in Potiphar's house, and he was just, going through going through it. I mean, 13 years until he was able to be released and to live out his purpose. You have a calling, you have a purpose in your life. But in that moment, I mean, kind of, because I know they're probably in that position right now where they feel like, man, I'm in the bottom of the bottom. But what gave you that sense of hope, knowing that this isn't going to be the best, this isn't going to be the rest of my life, or I'm going to make a change? Like, kind of walk through that scenario, man. What clicked? Like, what was it that was like, man, I gotta change this?
Man, there's so many things, and bro, it's, you set up that question really good, bro. I guess the number one, there's two major things that stick out to me. The number one thing was, when I was incarcerated, one of the officers, and it was a white officer. He had his teeth knocked out from a prison brawl. Came up to me like, you know, as soon as you accept responsibility for where you're at, your life will change. And he just walked away. And so I just brushed it off. I was an arrogant little 20-year-old.
Right.
So I started dwelling on that. I was like, what does he mean? Because I was, they did a 10-week investigation on me. I had 9 felonies. I was facing a lot of time. And so I was like, yo, someone set me up. Like, I was selling to an undercover cop. Somebody introduced me to him. And so I'm thinking victim mentality. Like, yo, I'm
Right.
here because they set me up. You know what I mean? I should be here. So as soon as I made that shift and I accepted responsibility for where I was, it was my fault. Everything kind of fell into place, right? And so obviously spiritually, that was the number one thing happened was when I turned away from that life and turned toward God. But that was when I accepted responsibility. That's when my life changed. I started realizing this is my fault. And then I had a conversation with my mom from a jailhouse phone. And that was the real like aha moment as well, where I'm gonna try not to get emotional, bro. But I was sitting there on the phone, and my mom said, "Whatever happened to that little boy that wanted to pretend he was sick so he can come to work with his mother? What happened to the boy that just wanted to come to the grocery store with his mom? And like, bro, those pierced my skin like a knife.
Man.
She was so right. Like, I had gone astray. The prodigal son. If you're not familiar with the Bible,
Right.
there's a lot of cool stories in the Bible, and I would encourage people to dive into that. But the prodigal son is a perfect story about my life, and so those two things were the major deciding factors for me to kind of put those other things aside, accept responsibility for my life,
Right.
and I change. And so, coming out of that situation, did a year in prison, 3 years on probation. Coming out of that situation, I needed to change my surroundings. And so, one of the things you can agree with is your network is your net worth.
Right.
So
Right.
immediately I had to change my surroundings, and court ordered I had to go live with my parents. So I went to live back at home, and I just changed who I surrounded myself with. I started hanging around people who were financially wealthy, who could give me information that I was not given as a youngster. And that association is really what gave me my self-confidence to make me believe that, hey, I can make millions of dollars, even though I have this criminal record that prevent me from a lot of things. I've never filled out a job application. I've never had to do a resume, right? It's people who introduce you to so and so, right?
Right. And, association. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Right. When I go into the schools and I'm speaking to the youth, I tell them, show me your 5 best friends or your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your future. Right.
Amen.
Like, who are you surrounding yourself with? And for me, in high school, man, I surrounded myself with some good brothers. Like, they wanted more out of life. We were all kind of grown up poor. We all kind of grew up in poverty, but we knew that there was more to life. We didn't quite know exactly how to get there, the blueprint, But you're absolutely right, man. Just surround yourself with the right folks. I know from my experience, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well. Like some people are like, oh man, this dude Austin switched up on me. Like Low switched up on me, right? Like, man, he thinks he's better. And it's like, yeah, I want better. Like, like talk about that, man. Like, cause some people that victim mindset, and I think others can try to pull people back into that mindset of victimization, like, oh, I'm a victim, oh, woe me, right? But it's like, dude, you have, like you said it earlier, choices, man. You have choices. You do not have to allow your circumstances that you're in, being arrested, right? Being a convict felon, having all these different felony charges. You still have a choice to do something with your life. But man, how hard was it? Because I know it was hard for me to kind of distance yourself from some people, from some associations that weren't really the right fit.
Man, and this is where people get tripped up, Low, because I'm glad you brought this up, is where this is where people honestly never live up to their full potential. Is they care about what other people think. And honestly, being married and having children, I've cared less and less about what other people think, because
Come on, bro.
Family, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
care what Joe Schmo talks about. Like, either and my opinion of my daughter and my opinion of my wife is more important than what he's got to say. So as you become, more spiritual in your life, or more successful in your life, or just older in your life, there's a gap that always happens, and it's by default.
Right.
So like for you, for example, as you start out in the, as a rep, as a sales rep, you start excelling, right? You become top tier, and then you become manager and all that, right? So there's automatically a separation. And then the ones down here are going to say, well, look at Low moving on up.
Right.
It's too good. Well, at the same time, that happens by default.
Right.
So the hardest thing to deal with is knowing that you're going to be leaving people behind. And that is just, that's just what has to happen. And so as I, got out of jail and out of prison and things like that, those old friends would reach out and say, hey, yo, I could set you up. You know what I mean? Just one phone call, I'll get you back on where you were. And I started changing my associate. I started making excuses saying, hey, no, I got to go do this today. Probation, go out tonight. And so I started keeping myself so busy in other things that when people did call me and say, hey, look, we're going to go party tonight, we're going out tonight. Like, hey, do you want to go? I can't, bro. I got this planned up. So I kept myself so busy away from those activities that they started calling me less and less. They started less and less wanting me to come hang out with them. And then now I don't even get the phone call at all.
Right.
So it was a slow fade away from them. Right. And so I just kept myself so busy in productive activity that it kind of by default, they just stopped reaching out.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, and it's funny because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about loyalty. Like some people feel like, man, I got to be loyal to my man's or my homie, because we go way back from playground days, or he did this for me. I was in a fight, he stepped in and helped out, and so they feel like they have this loyalty towards those individuals. But it's kind of like, man, if you're loyal to me and you really my homie and you're really my boy, like why would you know I'm on probation? Like why are you calling me talking about, yo, I'm gonna set you up nice, you're gonna be right back on your feet? Like if you're really my friend, like if you're really my homie, and you would definitely like look out. And so, man, shout outs to you for making that decision, man, and making the excuses, like to surround yourself with the right folks. And so we talk about exposure. We talk about exposing yourself to those individuals, to that life. For me, man, I was homeless at 14. Like I didn't know anything outside of my neighborhood, right? I didn't even know that, I could be successful. Like, but I got exposed to that. So let's dive into that, because you were exposed to these millionaires, which Vero Beach, I lived there for a year. Vero Beach has the highest money, like average per capita, in the state of Florida. I mean, there's just people with some Rolls Royces, like $1 million homes right there in the island, a lot of money. You get exposed, like, and you had that. When was that aha moment? Like, I can make some money. Like, this could really happen.
Yeah, and realizing, man, like, one of the very successful guys that I was talking with, he was 33 when he retired at a very young age with real estate and businesses.
Mm.
And he looked at me, he was like, Austin, what you went through and what I've been through when I was younger, you got caught. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, and here's a very successful, now he's in his 40s. He told me that. I was like, wow, this dude is just like me, and he has what I want, so how come he has this? I could just follow the same blueprint that he did and
Right.
have, there's a saying that says, if you're walking through a bomb field, a minefield, you never want to go first.
Right.
Right. You want to go second and just step in the footsteps of the person that went before you. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all that mentorship is. That's all that, when you invest in a program and they're teaching you the blueprint, follow the steps,
Right.
you know, and going back real quick to what you said, like with leaving people behind too, when you are successful and your friends are not, quote unquote, money wise or whatever, your success shines a spotlight onto their lack of success.
Mm.
That's usually where the animosity comes from and the envy comes from, is because their lack of production or ambition or whatever is highlighted with your proof of ambition, right? So,
Man, preach,
um,
brother.
come on, man. Come on, man. This is what your
Wow.
podcast is, right?
Hey, that's it, man. If I had the podcast roadmaster, I'd drop a bomb right now. I'll
But
drop
it's
a DJ Clue bomb. Man, that was fire, bro. Hey, in case y'all missed that, bro, like, say that one more time, bro.
so you're hustling behind the scenes, low, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when people see you promoted in public
Right.
and not in private, they're seeing your success. So like that success shines a huge spotlight on something they have
Mm.
not been successful at, right? And it's just what happens. And
Right.
and that gap widens and they can fill that gap, but the gap is not going to get filled by you coming down. It's going to get filled by them rising up. And
Right.
so
Right.
that's the way to do it. But yeah, man, and sometimes that spotlight hurts, you know what I mean, where they didn't take advantage of an opportunity,
Right.
right? Should have. So but yeah, man,
Man,
sorry
that
to go.
that's good, man. And it brings me to this, man. Like, so you're around these millionaires, right? Because it's about, let's get the bag, right? Then let's secure the bag, and then let's flip the bag. So what does that mean? Well, that means, like, I need to show you, let me show you, or get around someone that can mentor you on how to get the money, right? Then you want to secure the money, right? Because a lot of people, especially in my demographic, they don't secure the bag. What does that mean? That's health insurance, that's life insurance, different vehicles that you'll put your money into so you can secure it. Then you need to know how to flip it. So, you talked about, and so y'all know, we're gonna put in the podcast and descriptions where you can get Austin. He's an author. He's got a fire ebook. And so let's kind of get in transition into that with the credit, because people like ourselves, when you're younger, the biggest mistake you can do is live outside your means, right? So when you're 18 years old, you get that credit card and you like, man, I'm going on vacation. I'm getting a bottle. I'm about to turn up. I'm getting the Louis bag. I'm getting that fire belt. Like, the new J's came out, and so you start putting yourself in this debt to a point where you don't even know how to look back. From my story, I had a football coach, man. He used to drop a lot of nuggets, a lot of, like, he was like a father figure, big brother in my life. Really helped me, believe in myself and go to college. But he when he was telling me about credit, this is what I learned about credit. He said, hey, stay away from them credit cards, right? Because, man, when I was in college, I was just swiping away and then I was in debt. That's all he told me, right? He didn't teach me, that he basically put fear in credit. So I'm 24 years old with no credit. I can't get a car. I can't
Nope.
get anything. And I'm like, what? I thought I did everything right. Like, I never got the credit card for 6 years. Like, and so I was ignorant to the fact that you need credit. You just need to be disciplined. and you need to know how to build credit. And so, let's kind of touch up on that, man. Give some life hacks. We don't want to give out too much goodies, right? But I was led the wrong way, and I'm sure there's others that are probably listening who are like, man, yeah, I'm just like you, Lo. Like, man, I never had credit cards, but what I've learned is that no credit is worse than bad credit because they
Yeah.
don't even know how to measure, your spending habits. So, man, why is credit so important, right? To have good credit, develop credit, but also to take care of that bad credit. Why is it so important?
So I'm sure like the gentleman that told you that the football coach, he's very educated with a lot of things. And so we live in a world where things happen so fast. Education is changing, honestly, by the month, by the year, by the month.
Facts.
So most people are going to school for 2, 3, 4 years, and then when they get done, the economy is different from when they actually started going to school. So you're talking about an education system that is now different from when you went into college. It's when you get out. So he was only taught what he was only taught back then, but
Right.
now you can credit for many different things. I have 3 Airbnb properties right now. I've never had to pay a dime out of my own pocket. It's all
Mm.
credit, right? So you're talking
Another
that
bomb right there. Another bomb.
you're talking about like I had to put $0 up front. I could put it on a credit card, and then my passive income that I make from the Airbnb, I pay off the credit card, and when the credit card's paid off, I got 3 properties. I could either go stay at if I want to, or collect the bag, like you said. You know,
Right.
so but yeah, I was in the same situation. Credit is one of those things that's not taught in school. Where do you learn it? And it's so vitally important because, like yourself, at 24 years old, when you go buy a house or you go, get a phone or whatever, they're going to pull your credit, and then they realize, hey, your credit invisible
Mm-hmm.
exists, and so that there lies the problem. But there's a lot of cool tricks that you can do, man, to build your credit. At 18 years old, if your parents add you on their credit card as an authorized user at 18 years old, you're going to inherit all of those years of credit. And so that's going to be reflected on yours at
Right.
18. You're going to boom. As soon as you hit 18, your credit score is going to drop to jump up to 720, 750, or whatever. So, but yeah, the value of credit now, how do you think people buy real estate?
Right.
Bank credit. It might not be a credit card, but it's credit to buy a building, right? And
Right.
and so, yeah, man, the authorized user is a real good tip.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the bad, right? The ugly, bad credit. You know, I remember growing up, man, shout out to my mom, and I love her, man. But, when those bills used to come in, she'll rip them up and say, oh, that bill's paid. That bill's paid. But it wasn't, right. And so it impacted, her credit. She never bought a home, never purchased a home or anything like that. How important is it to basically clear that credit, pay it back, because you have to pay it back, and that's something people have to keep in mind. Someone put this in perspective, because I know a lot of people, they go out to eat, they swipe that credit card, and in a few weeks that bill's going to come in plus interest, right? You already digested that food, and that thing just done passed off, but now here you go, a few weeks later, you got to pay that bill. And so, I mean, people, they have to understand it. Like, give some tips on, being responsible, but also like taking, like you said earlier, accountability, and saying, you know what, I racked up this debt, I need to take care of this.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a lot of different ways to address that too. But going back to what you just said too is, you know, I'm not a fan of a debit card, only because when you swipe a debit card, you're putting your money at risk.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
if that swipe machine gets hacked, they got your bank account, right? That's number one. Number two is there's no there's no reward that you get for using your debit card,
Right.
right? So most people just swipe, swipe, swipe. Now with a credit card, I get reward points. I get 3% cash back, or I get 20 points. I get 1,000 air miles, right? So there's reward points. And then if you swipe it, and that company gets hacked or whatever, and your credit card gets hacked, it's the bank's money that's at risk, not yours.
Right.
right? So I like using a credit card. However, like you said, you got to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
When on my credit card, honestly, I go pay it down right away as soon as I get home, right? So there's always a low balance, but then I'm still getting those reward points that I can turn into cash. I can reinvest in the stock market, or I can use it for free travel,
Right.
right? So, but yeah, just being responsible about that is super,
Yeah.
super important.
Yeah, that's key, man. Being responsible, man, creating the discipline, the appetite, knowing how to, you can go to a buffet, eat all the food you want, your stomach gonna be hurting.
Yep.
you go to the mall and swipe, swipe, swipe. Your debt's gonna rack up. But you're absolutely right, man. I do the same thing where I use a credit card for that the security purposes. I had a few contractors come to the house working on a few different things, and they were taking payment right then and there on the phone. I'm like, credit card, real quick,
Yeah.
But like you said too, and that's when I knew my credit was good. Like, and my perspective on money shifted. We were at a furniture store. We got a bigger house now here in Georgia, and we had to get some more bedrooms, right, for the rooms that the extra rooms that we got. And so we were at the furniture store, and my wife's like, "How do you want to pay?" And I said, "You know what? Let me use this card because I get more points on that." And
Hmm.
the gentleman that was working there was like, "Oh yeah, you set up different, bro." Like he talking about rewards and points. Like, I need to get on that level. And I was just laughing, and I told him, "Hey, bro, wasn't always like this, right?" So I worked my way up to this, man. So that was major key for me. But man, you're doing credit repairs, you're helping people get out of debt. I mean, the testimonials that I see online are phenomenal. The ebook is just straight fire. I took some nuggets out of that and applied it, even though I thought I was doing some of the right things. It was like, oh wow, I wasn't thinking about that. For those that may have bad debt, bad credit, things like that, and they want to get connected, man, kind of walk them through on how they can connect with you or anybody on your team to kind of get their credit right.
Yeah. So credit repair is fun, man. It's exciting. We've been able to, my team and I have been able to remove over $500,000 worth of collections. Uh,
Man.
that's just right now. And one of the things, even from the last time we spoke, was I have new attorneys on my team that we sue debt collecting companies, and we actually get money back for our clients.
Mm.
Like, what credit repair company that's getting money back for our clients, right?
Right.
So it took me a long time to get connected with these guys, but I've been blessed, man.
Man.
So yeah, if you do have anything that's affecting you negatively, you want to address it before they address you, because if they address you, they'll come at you with a judgment, and they'll come after you and sue you. Then they can garnish your wages, right? And then you have to show up to court. So you
Hmm.
want to address the negative first, be on the offense, and it's a lot easier that way.
Yeah.
So you can catch me on TikTok. Honestly, I do a lot more TikTok now because I have there's like 130,000 followers on there. I go live on there more. Bro, so like what's crazy is I used to just work with realtors and real estate agents and finance managers at dealerships, because when they had people that had bad credit, they would just refer them to me.
Mm.
And then, bro, when I got on TikTok, I just started making funny videos and just putting out value, just like you're doing, just free value out there.
Right.
Um, I had a tussle with God though. I said, Lord, this may hurt me because I'm giving away the sauce for free. And boy,
Right.
said, trust me, and the floodgates open, man. I mean, I had,
Man.
I had to hire a couple new people just to call people back and schedule consultations. You
Right.
know, stock game is crazy, man. That's where everything's headed. But yeah, you definitely want to address the negative that's on there. And it's not just getting the negative removed. People are so tied up with their score number, their credit score number. That's the sexy thing to look at. But if you could just build your profile a certain way, it doesn't matter what your score is. You're going to get qualified for everything.
Man.
Because you can have an 800 or 750 credit score. If you got 4 years of credit age, you may get denied for some things.
Hmm.
But you 600 with 10 years of history, and you're still getting qualified
Opened
for,
up.
and with the higher score, and all that's in the ebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram, um, TikTok, all that stuff. Or you can check out my website, which is limitless-credit.com.
Man, listen, bro, you dropped some nuggets. I hope people was able to go back and look into that. But bro, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm proud of the father you are, the husband, the man, the giver, the servant, the man of God, bro. I mean, you just amazing, man. That's why we connected many, many years ago, man. We're gonna stay connected. And boys for life, man. You feel me? So
Now,
appreciate you. Yeah.
I got two things I want to share, man.
Yeah.
So let's say you have good credit, or you didn't realize the value. Oh man, I'm sitting on this good credit. Let me put it to use. Let's go back to the bag for a second, okay?
Right, right.
Let's go. So what you can do is there's an app called Turo, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh yeah.
And so what you can do if you have good credit, you can literally, or good business credit, you can go to the dealerships, get a car, zero money down, get that car, go take pictures of it, put it up on Turo. Your first payment is not till 30 days later. You could put that bad boy up on Turo. You can make $2,000 your first month before your first car payment is even due.
Man.
So let's say your car payment is $500 a month, and you put it up on Turo. The first 30 days, it will be booked within 48 hours, guaranteed.
Right.
So the first 30 days, you make $2,000. You just put 1,500. You just cleared 1,500, and now your car is paid for, right? Times 12 months. That's just one vehicle,
Right.
right? You could do with good credit. And I just talked about the Airbnb thing. You got a $10,000 credit card. You talk to the landlord, say, hey, look, would you mind if I can sublease this out, an Airbnb, blase. You put it up, buy everything from Amazon, $10,000 worth, put it up. That's what I did. And within 24 hours, the full month was booked. So like you pay the rent, $1,500 a month. Let's say you cleared $3,000 that month. You just made $1,500 and you had to put zero money out of your own pocket. So that's two. Let me give you another one real quick. So Lo, like yourself, you got good credit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There may be a bunch of people who don't. And if you have a credit card you've had for a long time, you can actually add 9 people onto your credit card as an authorized. There's zero risk, no risk on your part, because they're going to ask you, Lo, do you want to give this person a credit card now that they're authorized user? You say no. So you could add up to 9 people on your credit card. Imagine if you charge them $250 a pop. So you would say, you could put a post out there. I can help someone increase their score in 30 days. Message me. You get 9. Now, you're not trying to finesse them. You're going to help them because an authorized user, that helps with payment history, that helps with credit utilization, that helps with total accounts, and that helps with your credit age. So helping them, for $250, you keep them on there for 120 days. 9 people times $250. What is that? I mean, that's $2,200.
Right.
You just $200 extra. That's a free vacation now. 120 days later, you do it again. That's $200. 120 days later, you do it again. That's with one credit card, bro.
Right.
Imagine if you had 3.
Hacks, right? Man, life bro, hacks. Get the bag.
Come on, man. We live in a world, bro. This phone that I'm on right now, it can make you hundreds of millions of dollars, or it could keep you from making hundreds of million dollars. It's your choice.
Man, so profound, bro. Man, listen, my man's he's got the nuggets. He's got the knowledge. He's got if you're trying to make money, you're trying to fix your credit, you're trying to make money, flip it. Austin, bro. I'm going to connect y'all with my brother. Man, listen, fire, bro. Continue to do what you're doing. And we're going to work together because I'm in the same field, man, with the Airbnbs. I actually was down in Florida, like I said, a few days ago, looking at some options for me and my wife, man. So let's connect for sure on that. Do some business ventures together. And again, bro, appreciate you, man, with your time, brother.
Bro, God is good. I appreciate you. I'm honored to be on here, man, and I can't wait. I know the heavy hitters you got on this thing, so bro, I'm blessed to be on here as well. So thank you, man.
For sure, man. And then one thing before we go, man, if you can go back, right, and tell yourself, like, give yourself a piece of advice on how you can turn your dream into a reality, what would it be?
Whoo, man, if I would say trust God more and not worry as much, because the whole I'm worrying about things, especially being locked up, man. Because I mean, bro, a trip to the bathroom could be a trip to the morgue, you
Mm,
know. And so just trust in him, and that he's got everything in your best interest. If you pursue him, he will pursue you, and just trust more, man.
man, fire. Hey, appreciate you, man. Hey, listen to all the listeners out there. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm going to connect you with my brother Austin, man, and let's make it happen. Turn your dreams to a reality. It's your boy Lo Wilder, my man Austin, Desire to Dream podcast. Peace out.